weather update video, we're going to be talking about a potentially severe weather pattern forming over the plains and moving towards the Midwest over the next couple of days, as well as becoming a potential excessive rainfall slash flooding hazard happening. Now, for today, we do have a slight risk of severe weather in two different areas. One up here, kind of in the northern plains, so North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and a little bit of Wyoming will be impacted in that zone. We also do have one down here towards southwestern Colorado and a little bit of northwestern New Mexico. Biggest threats are actually going to be the hail and the wind risk. We do have a 15% chance in both of these yellow areas, with a much larger 5% chance around it. It kind of looks like a chicken drumstick if you look at this. And then down here, we'd have a much smaller, but still considerable 5% chance, kind of going from Colorado all the way down towards the Mexican border. And then within the wind risk, it's much less, but we do have a 15% chance up here in the Dakotas, a very large 5% chance around there, and we also do have a 5% down here towards the Four Corners states. Hey, I'm actually kind of a little bit surprised at this. We actually don't have a tornado risk at all. I think they could have like added a 2% chance somewhere up here, because there has been a tornado warning or two up here within the past hour or two, so that's why I think there might have been, a chance that they could have added that 2% chance. Last minute decision, they ended up not doing it at all. So we kind of move on to evening time, so around, 5 to 6 p.m., maybe 7 p.m. We are going to have some storms kind of moving through Montana and Wyoming. That is going to be moving right through the Dakotas. As we kind of go through around 10 to 11 p.m., we can see that those storms do start to move through the Dakotas now and moving through Montana and Wyoming. This will be not a very good nocturnal event, and it's going to be kind of bad because most of the activity and most of the strong activity is going to be happening overnight, really over Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, and a little bit of Wyoming. So make sure you have those phones on because it is going to be important if you wake up and you don't want to, be going through some hail or even a tornado or two when you're not even up. So make sure you have your phones on or know what weather radio, whatever it is that keeps you up and alert during severe weather. Kind of down here towards the Four Corners states, you can already see that right now we do have isolated scattered showers kind of moving through the Four Corners. As they go throughout evening, these storms will kind of intensify, and this is where we're going to start having to worry about our excessive rainfall problem, but also our severe weather problem as we kind of go through. Now, down here, the severe weather isn't going to be as much. It's probably going to be happening around late evening. It isn't going to be like an overnight event that's going to be happening, but we still need to watch out, and you still need to be weather aware kind of no matter what. We do have a slight risk of excessive rainfall for 3 different areas. One up here in the Dakotas, and a little bit of Montana. Down here towards the Four Corners, we do have a slight risk, and even down here towards Miami, Florida, we also do have a slight risk with that. And then day 2, we still have a slight risk of excessive rainfall, and still in all 3 areas. Up here in the northern plains still, we got some in kind of northern North Dakota. This one down here towards the south is when we kind of start getting a little bit more concerning because the risk is kind of expanding in terms of area. There might be a chance that it could go up to a 40% chance. I don't think so, but there is that small chance that could potentially happen. And then we still do have that 50% chance down here in Miami. And then day 3, Florida and the southern plains are finally going to have a break though. However, we do now have a 15% chance up here in central North Dakota and central South Dakota, where we could be seeing some excessive rain possible. Now, for precipitation over the next 24 hours, it's going to be kind of isolated for most of us in the United States. Some areas in North Dakota and South Dakota could reach up to 1 to 2 to maybe even 3 inches in some isolated areas. Down here towards Arizona and New Mexico, again, some areas could be up to that 1 to 2 to localized even 3 inches. Same could be said here in Colorado, a little bit of Wyoming, and a little bit of Montana as well. We are going to have some isolated bits of rain happening over here across the Midwest. Some areas could get up to an inch. And then otherwise, in most of the country, it's going to stay relatively dry for the most part, which, if you need the rain, is not going to be good. If you don't need the rain, that's going to be good. We're going to be talking about our climate. So, over the next 6 to 10 days, wow, look at this. The whole country is going to be above average. Yeah, above average for temperatures. And this is the whole country that it's going to be under it. Except the Pacific Northwest and the East Coast, could be, slightly above average. And then, for example, over here in like the mid Mississippi Valley, could be very above average for temperatures. And then within the next 8 to 14 days, wow, still the whole country is yet above average for temperatures. This time, the East Coast might stay slightly above average. Same thing can be said over here in the West Coast. That might be very possible. And then within the next 3 to 4 weeks, wow, everything has changed. Most of the country is going to be above average. However, this time, places in like the plains, the northern plains, and even over here in the Midwest could stay relatively near normal average to temperatures. And then for precipitation, most of us in the country are going to be above average for precipitation. However, places in like the Northeast and as well as the South, could experience that below than average, and then some areas could, even be near normal average. To 14 days, not much of the map has changed. However, the above average still exists in both areas. The Northeast now does seem to be completely, covered in that below than average. However, over here in like Texas and Louisiana, that is going to weaken up, and this time our near normal average is actually going to be expanding for places in the Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, Great Lakes, and as well as the Ohio River Valley. And then within the next 3 to 4 weeks, not really much. The Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, and especially the Ohio River Valley could be a little bit below average for precipitation. Otherwise, the rest of us are going to be above average or near normal average. If you're in southern Florida, you'll be above average. The rest of the country is going to be near normal average. About drought, it's actually kind of a little interesting. So, in the East Coast, we've been having some drought expand across here. Some areas are up to severe drought already. Even areas over here in the Northeast have now been in the extreme drought, which is actually kind of problematic because in the Northeast, we typically don't see that this time around. But over here, the drought has been expanding. The West Coast, looks like it's so bad, but over the last time that I've seen this, it definitely has weakened. Even over here towards Nebraska and South Dakota, that drought has weakened up a little bit. Texas, though, might be, expanding in drought, however. I'll tell you about over the tropics right now is that we do have ourselves a 40% chance of a tropical disturbance. Right now, you can see it's just off the coast of Africa here. This is something we may have to worry about. Not right now, but just to get a little idea on. It is currently at a 40%, kind of moving towards the U.S., but, could always change in multiple ways. And then even over here, we do have ourselves a tropical storm. Apparently, Tropical Storm Mario is off the coast of Mexico, and it's currently just projected to really just stay off the coast of Mexico and kind of just die out at some point. Hazardous waves, though, could be a problem off the Mexican coast, so we do need to worry about that. Otherwise, there's not really anything we need to worry about.